You're listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.
3 Korean chipmakers made board-level moves this week that affect anyone running Korea's supply chain or operations. SK's chairman confirmed more than $35 billion already committed to the U.S., with a new AI data center on the table. Samsung Electronics is now reviewing a U.S. listing of its own after SK Hynix's record debut. Samsung Electro-Mechanics locked in a 25 trillion won bet on AI server components through 2040. And Chinese suppliers are now squeezing Korean vendors hard enough that some are fielding acquisition offers. It's Wednesday, July 15th. Let's look at a business story shaping corporate Korea. Korea's chip exporters are riding an AI-driven super cycle that's pushing the government's 2026 growth forecast to its highest pace in nearly 3 decades. SK Hynix's record New York listing set a benchmark that's now pulling Samsung Electronics toward its own board-level listing review. At the same time, state-backed Chinese manufacturers are undercutting Korean suppliers on price across mold making and precision components. Here's what the numbers show. SK Group has already invested over $35 billion in the U.S., said Chairman Chey Tae-won this week. SK Hynix raised $26.5 billion through its New York listing on July 10th, the largest U.S. listing ever by a foreign company. And Samsung Electronics is now reviewing its own ADR option. Samsung Electro-Mechanics will spend 25 trillion won, about $16.8 billion through 2040, with roughly 12 trillion won concentrated in the next 3 years starting this year. The company's operating margin needs to climb from 13% this year to 22% next year to justify that outlay, according to industry estimates. Samsung Electronics opened HBM recruitment across 6 roles from July 13th to 27th, covering core die design, packaging, and customer engineering. China's mold imports into Korea grew 162.7% over 5 years to $257 million last year, squeezing Korean part suppliers on price. First-half chip exports hit $192.4 billion, already topping all of last year, pushing the government's 2026 growth forecast to 3.0%. The won has traded near 1,490 per dollar this month, adding a cost variable to any new Korea investment plan. So, what does this mean for global C-suite with Korea supply chain or operations exposure? Earlier, we said Samsung Electronics is reviewing its own U.S. listing, and that decision now hinges on whether investors reward scale the way they rewarded SK Hynix's memory story. For supply chain planning, price pressure from Chinese mold and component makers means sourcing reviews belong on this quarter's board agenda, not next year's. And for anyone underwriting new Korea capacity, Samsung Electro-Mechanics' path to a 22% margin next year is the number to watch before committing to the next CapEx cycle. That's today's AI Prism, CEOs. This episode was produced with AI assistance based on Seoul Economic Daily reporting and reviewed by a human editor. AI Prism is a Won IFRA award-winning series. We'll be back tomorrow.
You've been listening to AI Prism from Seoul Economic Daily.